Yeah, very good. I want plenty of sound effects to go. Step up nice and close, if you will. So, Pembroke, are they looking after you? Yeah, good food? All right, rewind, I won't ask that question. Well, as you, I'm sure you know, Pembroke's the third oldest college. This is the oldest college of them all. This is Peterhouse, straight ahead, founded in 1284. As far as I'm concerned, the little street we've just walked up in the daytime is the prettiest little street in the whole of Cambridge. It's called Little St Mary's Lane. I'm a little bit biased because I've known of some famous people that have lived down this street. You'll have heard of one of them. Number 6 was home to a newly married Professor Stephen Hawking, the great mathematician. So you'll have heard of him. The others you'll have never heard of, but they're famous as far as I was concerned. My grandmother and grandfather used to live here, number 11. Now, the point is, I would come over in the daytime, pretty street, but as darkness descends, this end of the street has always had a sense of foreboding and evil about it. There have been sudden temperature drops. There's been stories of a beast jumping off the north gate and into the churchyard. There was a spate of student suicides with windows facing the churchyard. And indeed, I'd come over here as an 8-year-old boy, that was a very, very long time ago, with my brother. That churchyard's a fantastic place to play when you're 8 years old. But after dark, neither me or my brother or the local kids were ever allowed out. Even the porters coming to lock that gate were very nervous about coming out. So we'll get on with the story quickly before it gets too dark. We're going to go back to the year 1779. A man called Francis Dawes was one of the senior fellows here at Peterhouse. Friends were attending a local fair, the Stourbridge Fair, and it was the last day, 29th of September. He said, "Why don't you come back to my college and have supper with me?" So, at the appointed time, these friends arrived. They went to Francis Dawes' rooms. He was nowhere to be seen. They looked around the grounds, couldn't find him. They got the help of one of the porters. And a little while later, a shout went up from the porter. Francis Dawes had been found at the bottom of the southern staircase, opening into the senior combination room. But sadly, he was hanging from an old bell rope. He'd taken his own life, and he was now dead. Terrible story. We hear very little more about Francis for the next 150 years. We're right forward to 1997 now. 2 Cambridge young men, Paul and Matthew, are working here as porters. 9:30 one Monday evening, they come down that staircase, unaware of the story, of course. And when they reach the bottom, they are stopped dead in their tracks. Because as they look out across the combination room, they report seeing a figure in crumpled academic dress, water, and a cloak, gown, glide across the floor and then disappear before their very eyes. The 2 boys go home. They don't sleep a wink. They come back the next day. Should they tell the dean of the college? Will he make fun of them? Well, they are genuinely disturbed about this, so they tell the dean of the college. He's a very sympathetic man. He knows his history as well. He's had similar reports before. He's figuring this is the troubled soul of Francis Dawes. So he puts the boys at rest, says don't worry about it, doesn't make fun of them at all. A couple of months later, the dean has got his own friends round. They have supper in hall, all dressed up like Harry Potter, and have fantastic supper. And then they do what the fellows do best here in Cambridge. They retire to the senior combination room. They drink vintage port. They have the best wines in the world and the best cheese. They're sitting around talking. The 2 boys, Matthew and Paul, are on duty, and they see that same figure again in the crumpled academic dress. And just as before the figure, someone else doing sound effects up there, the figure disappears. Only this time the figure is carrying a tray of glasses which fall to the floor. There's an almighty crash and smash. Everybody stops talking and looks about. The dean looks at the two boys and has figured out what has happened. He asks the boys to clean up the glass and gets his friends talking again. He now decides something must be done. He consults with the Bishop of Ely. They've tried exorcisms before, it hasn't worked. So now they decide a special church service must be held in the Peterhouse chapel, a requiem mass, to try and put to rest the poor soul of Francis Dawes. And it goes ahead. All 45 fellows here had to attend, which didn't go down well with some of the more cynical ones. They wanted to play rugby or go out drinking, but they all attended. The service went ahead, and at last the troubled soul of Francis Dawes can rest in peace. And he no longer haunts his college. So that's one less ghost I've got to talk about. But that's the story of Francis Dawes. On the health and safety, there is also worth telling you about the legend of the Black Shook. It's said to be a black beast. Some say it's a giant black dog. It roams the streets of Cambridge, comes past Pembroke College on a regular basis. It roams all the Fen villages as well. It's said that this beast has fiery red eyes. Now, I've never seen it, and I don't intend to see it, because the legend has it that if you ever look into those eyes, you will be cursed with ill health and bad luck for the rest of your life. So, that wasn't the Black Shook. But if you hear a dog coming up behind you late at night, don't look round, just get into Pembroke, all right? Okay, let's carry on down here.